Hello, and welcome to the Science for Sleepy. The room around you is quiet now, and you feel the slow breath of evening settle in your chest as if the world itself were waiting. In this moment, nothing is rushed. The air is soft and carries the faint hum of your own heartbeat, steady and unhurried. And in the distance, though you cannot yet place where, there is a sound, low, round, and deep. It seems to come from beneath the earth, but also from far away, like a memory returning slowly. You close your eyes and allow the sound to fill you, an invitation to drift, to follow. Before we go any further, remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't yet. We would love for you to share your location and your local time in the comments below. There is something comforting about knowing exactly where you're listening from, a thread that ties you to us and to others across oceans and night skies. We drift now beneath a veil of moonlight into the open ocean. The surface breaks softly and the world above vanishes like a closed book. All around, the water folds into a vast, dark cathedral. The sea is endless here, an expanse of black blue that seems to go on forever. You feel weightless, suspended in the quiet, the gentle pressure of water wrapping you like a blanket. Then, through the darkness, the sound returns. It is not music as you might know it, but something older, a long, trembling note that vibrates through the very bones of the sea. A whale is singing somewhere far below, and the ocean is carrying its song like a secret. Have you ever wondered what it must feel like to speak across an entire world? The whale's voice, deeper than the earth's tremors, rolls outward in waves. It does not fade the way voices do in air. Instead, it expands, growing larger until it becomes part of the ocean itself. This is no ordinary sound. It is a pulse, a presence, as if the water itself is breathing. You can almost sense the size of the creature who made it. Immense, slow-moving, each beat of its heart echoing centuries of survival. The song is low at first, a single tone that swells and then drops, like the bow of a cello dragged across thick strings. Then comes another note, different, layered just slightly above the first. They connect with precision, forming a shape you cannot see but can feel in your chest. The whale is painting the water with sound. This is its language, its map, its bridge to other distant whales who may be listening in the dark. Somewhere, miles away, another giant may already be answering, its own voice rising to meet this one. But for now, the ocean holds only a single call. The ocean is not empty. Tiny particles drift in slow spirals past your fingertips, plankton glowing faintly with their own soft light, microscopic lanterns in the abyss. Small fish dart through these pinpricks of brightness, their movements quick and nervous. Yet none of them make a sound like the whale. Theirs are the clicks and whispers of small lives, sharp and fleeting. The whale song is deeper, older, resonating through a world none of these creatures can fully grasp. It is a call across miles, across days, even across entire lifetimes. Do you notice how time feels different here? There is no hurry, no race toward a finish. Each note the whale sings could last a full breath, or 100. It does not matter. Down here, life moves with the rhythm of tides and moonlight. Even we, floating unseen in the blackness, begin to lose our sense of urgency. We simply listen. The voice folds around us again, carrying us further from the surface, further from the edge of waking life. The sound deepens. You wonder how the whale makes it, whether its entire body vibrates like a great instrument, chest and skull working together to release this endless music. You imagine the enormous shape of it gliding slowly through the dark, its fin sweeping through water heavier than stone, its tail sending silent currents behind it. There is no rush in its movement, no panic. It is made for this vastness, it belongs to it. And yet, despite the sheer size of the whale, the sound feels delicate. It is a whisper threaded through water so thick you can barely move your hands. A whisper, and still it carries farther than the eye can ever see. What secrets might it hold? A greeting? A warning? A declaration of presence? Or simply an invitation to another whale? I am here. Where are you? The ocean listens, unbroken. The note fades, and for a long, quiet stretch of time there is only the hum of water. Then the whale begins again. You realize the song is not a single line, but a series of patterns, carefully shaped, each one a thought cast out into the dark. There is beauty in its repetition, in the certainty of it. It feels less like sound now, and more like a tide, something inevitable, something that will return again and again. We remain here, floating, allowing the whale's voice to fill the space around us. The edges of the world dissolve. All that exists is the slow rhythm of notes moving outward, gliding beneath the surface, echoing through unseen valleys of the seafloor. We're no longer thinking about where we are or where we're going. We're simply listening. The song lingers like a dream we do not want to wake from. Each vibration reminds us that even in the vastest dark, something alive is speaking. It is enough to feel it, to let the sound wrap itself around us like the ocean's own arms, and somewhere far below the whale sings on. The whale's song drifts ahead of us like a glowing thread, tugging us gently through the water. The notes lengthen and fold into one another, each one stretching farther than the last. You might wonder how sound can travel so far in the ocean when in air it would fade so quickly. But here, in this vast liquid world, sound is everything. It is the thread that ties whales together across entire oceans, a bridge of vibration. Can you feel how thick the water is around you, pressing softly against your skin? Every sound is magnified here, moving through the molecules like a heartbeat through a drum. Whales know this. They have always known this. Long before humans thought about physics, whales sang in ways that used the sea itself as an amplifier. The first note leaves the whale's enormous body and spreads outward, rolling like thunder across the seafloor. Unlike light, which is swallowed almost instantly by water, sound finds a way to stay. It lingers, it travels. The deeper we drift, the darker it becomes. Colours vanish one by one until only a faint silver-blue light remains, cast from the last slivers of moonlight far above. Yet the whale's voice is brighter than any colour now. It is a pulse we can feel in our ribs, a vibration that makes the water around us shiver. One moment the note is near, as if the whale is just ahead. The next, it feels impossibly distant, already halfway across the ocean. Have you ever stood in a canyon and called out, waiting for the echo to return? Here in the ocean, every place is a canyon, every direction an endless hallway of water. The whale's voice finds paths we cannot see, curving through valleys, bouncing off underwater cliffs, and sliding over ridges of coral. It keeps moving until the world itself becomes the song. There is more than one whale out there. You can sense it. Somewhere in the distance, faint and almost imperceptible, a second voice threads into the water. It is not the same as the first. The pitch is higher, softer, a call that almost sounds like an answer. The two voices do not overlap at random. They move around each other, weaving together like currents, as though the whales are dancing with sound. Do you think they hear each other's entire lives in these notes? Each breath, each long migration, each memory of feeding grounds and breeding places? Or are these songs simpler, like greetings exchanged by neighbours who know they will meet again? It is impossible to tell. The songs belong to the whales alone, but you can feel their weight, the way each sound hangs heavy with meaning. The second voice grows louder, closer, and for a moment it seems we might see the whale itself. But no, it remains hidden, a giant shape just beyond reach. Perhaps it has already changed course to follow the first whale's call. Perhaps it is content to simply sing, knowing the notes will find their way to where they are meant to be. We drift along the path of sound, following the invisible line. Every so often, a note changes. A pause, a shift in pitch, a ripple of rhythm that breaks the pattern and then reforms it. The ocean catches each variation and sends it spiraling outward. You realize the whales are not just sending messages. They are sculpting the water with their voices, turning empty space into something alive. In the distance, the second voice fades. The first whale's song deepens again, and we feel the water tremble with its strength. The ocean is vast, yet this sound fills every corner of it. Whales have always understood what we're just beginning to see, that the sea itself is a body, and sound is the blood that moves through it. The song grows so strong now that we feel it as much as we hear it. Our breath slows to match its rhythm. The pressure of the water seems to settle on our shoulders, and for a moment we feel like whales ourselves, part of this slow and endless world. There is no hurry, no distance too far. Each note is patient, each note carries. Then the sound dips lower still, a pitch so deep it is almost a vibration you sense in your bones more than your ears. It rolls beneath us like the weight of the earth shifting. Somewhere beyond the dark, other whales may already be listening. We wonder if they will respond, or if they will simply let the song pass through them, becoming part of their own journey. There is no answer yet. The ocean is listening. We are listening. And the whale sings on, its voice trailing into the unseen places where water becomes memory, where distance ceases to exist. The whale's song stretches into the dark like a thread pulled endlessly from a spool. Each note is deliberate, carved from the ocean's body, a resonance that shimmers and then fades before the next one rises. We follow it still, letting it guide us deeper, slower, closer to the unseen heart of the sea. Have you ever wondered how a song can have shape? These notes do. They are not random sounds, but layered pieces of something larger. The whale's song is built in phrases like sentences spoken softly, but without words. One part begins with a low rumble that you feel more than you hear, a sound like distant thunder over mountains. Another part follows with a sharp upward curve, as though the whale is lifting the ocean itself with its voice. These patterns repeat, shifting just slightly each time, like the way waves never crash exactly the same upon a shore. We're close enough now that you can almost feel the whale's breath in the water, though we never see it. Its body remains hidden in the black-blue haze of the deep, an enormous shadow gliding through currents older than memory. But its voice reveals everything, its size, its distance, the arc of its path. Sound is its shape. The song rises again, a soft tremor that shudders along the seafloor. You realize that this is more than communication. This is architecture. The whale builds the world around it with sound, measuring spaces it cannot see, tracing invisible walls and valleys. Every note it sings is a map drawn for itself and for others. Even in perfect darkness, it will never be lost. How far can this song reach? Miles upon miles, across currents that stretch from one ocean basin to another. Other whales will hear it, perhaps weeks from now, in places we cannot even name. They will recognize the patterns, even if they are not from the same family, even if they have never met the singer before. The song carries identity as much as it carries melody. We pause and listen to one long rising note. It feels familiar now, though we've never heard it before. It hums against our ribs and pulses through the water like a living thing. And then, as if in answer, another whale's voice joins in. This one is further away, the pitch higher, the rhythm quicker. It does not interrupt but complements the first, like the harmony in a song we didn't know was meant to be sung in two parts. Their voices weave together, and for a moment the ocean feels smaller, less endless. There is connection here, a tether between these giants. We wonder if the whales can sense each other's emotions in these notes. Are they singing in joy, longing, curiosity? Or is it something we cannot name, something the ocean alone can understand? The second voice shifts slightly, mimicking a pattern from the first whale's song but changing it just enough to make it new. This is how whale songs evolve, how they ripple through entire populations over time. Each whale adds something, a new phrase, a twist in rhythm, until the song becomes different, richer, the way a story grows as it's told again and again. Can you imagine songs that last for generations? A melody sung by whales decades ago could still echo in the voices we hear now. Some scientists believe these changes spread across whole oceans like cultural waves. A song born in the Pacific might find its way to the Atlantic, carrying fragments of places the original singer never swam. The first whale holds the low note longer now, stretching it until the water itself seems to tighten around us. It is an anchor, steady and patient. The second whale drifts further away, its voice fading but not disappearing. Perhaps it is following another call, or perhaps it is simply letting the melody pass through it, trusting that someone else will carry it forward. We are left with the first whale again, its voice steady and sure. Each note feels like a breath taken slowly, carefully, with no expectation that it must end. There is something freeing in this rhythm, in the way the whale's song does not rush toward a conclusion. It reminds us that the ocean has no finish line. There is only the next current, the next note, the next place where sound can travel. We float quietly, letting the melody wrap around us like a warm current. It is hard to tell where the whale ends and the ocean begins, hard to separate the singer from the song. Maybe that is the point. Out here, everything blends into one: water, voice, distance, time, and still the whale sings. The ocean folds around us like a cathedral of water, its vastness unbroken by walls or doors, yet it is not empty. The whale's song threads through every unseen corridor, and we begin to sense the depth of what it is doing. This is not only a call to others, it is a way of seeing. The whale's notes strike the dark and return as echoes, invisible reflections that shape its understanding of the world. Can you picture it? Each sound the whale releases travels outward, touching rock, coral, and the slow drift of other bodies before returning. In these echoes, the whale reads distance and direction, the shape of the seafloor, the thickness of the water above. This is how a giant can swim with confidence through an ocean that offers no light. We float close, listening as the notes change. A long, low rumble sweeps through the water, followed by shorter pulses that rise and fall like steps on a staircase. The whale is mapping something. Perhaps it's a canyon wall far below, or an underwater ridge stretching for miles. The sound travels far beyond what our ears can follow, but the whale hears everything. Do you ever wonder what it would feel like to sense the world entirely through sound? To close your eyes and understand where you are by the way vibrations return to you? The ocean is like an endless hall of mirrors for whales, reflecting their voices back in subtle ways. Each echo carries information we could never decode, yet the whale interprets it effortlessly. The song shifts again, softening into a steady rhythm that seems to move outward in all directions at once. We can almost imagine the map it creates. The seafloor rising here, a wide trench opening there, the faint trace of another whale far away. This knowledge is not written down. It is felt, remembered in muscle and bone, carried across migrations that span entire oceans. And yet there is more to the song than navigation. You can hear it in the way the notes linger, in the careful pauses between phrases. The whale is not just charting the world, it is expressing something beyond function, beyond survival. There is a gentleness in the sound, a patience that suggests the whale understands it is part of something larger. We drift lower, into colder water where the pressure wraps tighter around us. The whale's voice is louder here, though we are still far from its source. It seems to fill every direction, as though the ocean itself has become a single instrument. When the notes strike the rocky walls of an unseen trench, the echoes return in waves that overlap and blend until it is impossible to tell where the original sound began. Perhaps this is how whales experience the ocean, a constant layering of voices, their own and those of others, bouncing and returning in endless combinations. Even when they are alone, they are never truly separate. The echoes carry pieces of other lives, other places. A faint sound touches the edge of our hearing, high and sharp, very different from the whale's slow melody. It is the chatter of dolphins far above, darting through the warm shallows. They too use echoes to understand their world, but their voices are quick and bright, flitting from one thought to the next. The whale song continues below, steady and deliberate like the tolling of a distant bell. Do you feel how these sounds interact? The ocean holds all of them at once, layering its languages without confusion. Each creature finds its own frequency, its own way of speaking. The whale chooses the lowest notes, the ones that can travel farthest. It does not need to shout. Its voice is already built to reach the farthest corners. The song drops deeper still, a vibration that trembles through the marrow of the sea. The whale is searching for something now. We cannot know what, but we can feel its intent in the way the notes lengthen, in the pause that follows each echo. Perhaps it is listening for another whale. Perhaps it is tracing the old roots of its ancestors, the pathways that have guided generations through the same invisible roads. Whatever it is seeking, the whale continues to sing. The ocean answers in the only way it can, by carrying the voice forward, folding it back, amplifying its shape until the song becomes the very structure of the deep. We drift in the stillness that follows, hearts slowing with the rhythm of the water. There is no need to move quickly. The whale's voice will find its way, just as it always has, across the darkness that binds everything together. And then, softly, the next note begins. The whale's next note rises like a slow tide, filling the water with a vibration that hums against the edges of the world. This time it does not simply radiate outward. It seems to find a hidden path beneath the waves, a corridor that will carry it farther than any sound we've heard so far. Have you ever heard of the SOFAR channel? It is not a place you could see, not a tunnel carved through rock or coral. It is a layer of the ocean where water temperature and pressure create the perfect conditions for sound to travel extraordinary distances. Whales have always known it. Long before humans named it, they found this band of water and used it as a highway for their voices. We drift now into that silent road, feeling the subtle shift in the water as we descend. Above us, the ocean grows slightly warmer. Below, it presses colder, heavier. Here in the narrow seam between those extremes, the whale's song glides with almost no effort. It is as if the water itself has become a carrier wave, cradling the sound and pushing it forward. Can you imagine your voice travelling 1,000 miles, still clear, still strong, still reaching ears you will never see? That is what happens here. The SOFAR channel can stretch sound across entire ocean basins. One whale's song could pass through hundreds of miles of darkness, past distant islands and under polar ice, until another whale far away hears it and responds. The song we are following now will likely be heard by whales we will never meet. Perhaps a calf swimming beside its mother in the tropics will pause and lift its head to listen. Perhaps a solitary whale navigating icy waters will turn its body toward the sound, comforted by the presence of another living being out there in the vastness. We float quietly in the channel, letting the sound move past us. It has changed slightly, becoming smoother, almost weightless. The ocean no longer swallows it. Instead, it carries the song like a secret message. Each note leaves the whale and continues on, travelling farther than even the singer could swim in a single breath. There is something humbling in this, isn't there? The whale sings not knowing exactly who will hear it, or when, or if it will even reach another voice at all. It sings anyway, trusting the ocean to do what it has always done, to carry sound through space and time. The song dips low, a note so deep it seems to blur into the water itself. It lingers, then rises suddenly, a climb that feels like a question. Will anyone answer? We listen, but the ocean remains quiet. Perhaps the answer is still travelling toward us, hidden somewhere in the distance. The whale does not pause for long. Another phrase begins, and another after that, weaving a pattern that seems endless. The SOFAR channel stretches on. We imagine the whale gliding through it, body perfectly balanced, tail sweeping slowly from side to side. It does not rush. The ocean is its ally here. The song continues forward with no need for force, drifting farther and farther. Do you wonder how many other songs are travelling this same invisible road at this very moment? Perhaps hundreds, perhaps thousands, all moving unseen beneath storms and ship wakes, threading the oceans together in ways we can barely comprehend. The whale's voice grows softer now, not because it is fading, but because it is far ahead of us. It is still moving, still calling, but the distance has stretched too wide for us to follow closely. We let it go, trusting it to reach places we cannot imagine. The channel holds the sound long after the whale has passed. It is a reminder that nothing here is ever truly gone. Even when a note falls silent, its vibrations remain, echoing through water and memory until they merge with the sea itself. We drift in that thought for a long time, suspended in the perfect stillness of the SOFAR channel. Above and below, the ocean feels infinite. And then, faintly, we hear another song. Not the one we have followed, but a new voice entirely, rising to meet the same ancient road. The new voice threads into the SOFAR channel like a lantern flickering to life in the distance. Its pitch is higher than the first whale's, a lilting melody that bends and sways as if the ocean itself were breathing it out. We pause and listen, wondering if this is the answer the first whale was waiting for. The song travels along the same invisible corridor, but it feels different. Where the first voice was low and steady, anchoring itself in the water, this one dances lightly, testing the currents. The two songs overlap for a moment in our memory, and it's as though the ocean has turned into a choir. Have you ever heard of whales exchanging entire melodies across hemispheres? Their songs do not stay fixed in one place. They move, evolve, and spread, like stories whispered from one ear to the next. A song born here in the South Pacific may one day be heard in the North Atlantic, carried by the voices of whales that pass it along. We drift as the second whale's song unfurls around us. It is full of subtle turns, little flourishes that feel almost playful. Then, as if remembering something, the melody drops lower and steadier, echoing a fragment of the first whale's song. This is how the songs change. Each whale adds a phrase, alters a rhythm, shapes the melody into something slightly new before sending it onward. Do you wonder if the whales know they're shaping something larger than themselves? Or do they simply sing because they must? Because the act of filling the ocean with their voices is as natural as breathing? The song continues, bending with purpose now. We picture it reaching whales far beyond our view, perhaps across entire oceans. Some will recognize the melody instantly, a familiar refrain passed down through seasons. Others will hear it for the first time, pause in their journey and join in, carrying the song further still. This is how whale songs drift across the world. They are not static, they are alive. They carry with them the migrations of entire populations, the changing temperatures of the seas, the memories of breeding grounds and feeding grounds. And as each whale adds its own variation, the song becomes a reflection of the ocean itself, vast, ever-changing and deeply connected. The whale's voice lingers, rising and falling like a tide. Somewhere behind us, we imagine the first whale still singing its own version of the song. Perhaps these two whales will meet one day, their melodies converging as they circle each other in the open water. Or perhaps they will never cross paths, their voices overlapping only in the currents, distant yet forever linked. The SOFAR channel continues to carry the music forward. We can almost feel the vibration travel beyond us, past distant islands, through the underbellies of waves, into waters colder and deeper than we could ever reach. And we know there are more songs out there, fragments of melodies that began decades ago, still moving, still changing, still being heard. It is humbling to think that a single song could travel across an entire hemisphere. It means that somewhere, whales we have never seen might be humming a melody born from the first voice we heard in the beginning. A culture passed not through written words but through notes that echo endlessly in the water. The second whale's voice softens now, each phrase stretching longer as though it is growing tired. But it does not stop. The ocean rewards patience. It carries the voice forward, ensuring that it will reach other ears, other hearts, other oceans. We listen for a long time, until the song grows faint, until it becomes impossible to tell where the voice ends and the sea begins. And then, somewhere far away, we hear another whale singing. It is not the first, it is not the second, it is yet another, joining the same vast and unbroken melody. We realize now that the ocean is full of songs we will never hear. They are drifting in every direction, weaving an invisible net of sound that binds the world together. The third whale's voice swells, rising like a beacon, and we drift with it into the dark. The third whale's voice is deeper than the others, a rich, resonant note that trembles in the water like a distant drum. It is slow and deliberate, with long pauses between phrases, as if the whale is considering every sound it releases into the world. We float quietly, letting the voice wrap around us, and we wonder, what do these songs truly mean? There is a temptation to think of them as simple calls, signals meant only to say I am here or come closer. But the patterns we hear feel more complex. This song is structured, layered, repeating in cycles that stretch for hours. Could these be messages, not just to other whales, but to generations that will follow? Scientists believe that whale songs hold cultural meaning, passed down through families, shifting slowly with time. The melodies we hear today are echoes of those sung decades ago, perhaps even centuries. Each variation is a signature, a sign of belonging. Whales in one region sing a particular version of the song, while those in distant oceans sing another, like dialects spoken across a continent. Do you ever think about how culture shapes the way we speak, the way we live? Whales may feel something similar. Their songs are not just tools, they are part of who they are. A calf learns its mother's melody the same way a human child learns the cadence of a lullaby. Over years, it will add its own notes, altering the song slightly, until one day it becomes a voice that others will follow. The third whale continues its slow rhythm, each phrase repeating with subtle differences. There is beauty in the small changes, the way a single note lingers a little longer than before, or the way a phrase now bends upward instead of downward. These differences might carry meaning beyond our understanding, or perhaps they are like art, expressions of presence, shaped by the currents and the whale's own experience. We drift deeper, feeling the pressure of the ocean grow stronger. The whale's voice carries effortlessly, but it does not seem to be calling for anyone in particular. It is simply filling the space, ensuring that the ocean will not be silent. Somewhere in the distance, another whale answers. This voice is softer, almost hesitant, as if testing the water. The third whale holds its note, allowing the newcomer to find the rhythm. Slowly, the two songs align. We hear them rising and falling together, their phrases overlapping until they seem like a single voice. Can you imagine how this must feel for the whales? To be so far apart and yet so deeply connected. Even in a world as vast as the ocean, they are never entirely alone. Their voices create a bond that stretches across the miles, a reminder that they are part of something larger than themselves. We linger in this moment, listening as the whales continue their duet. There is no urgency in their exchange. They do not rush to finish or to move on. They allow the ocean to carry their voices, knowing that time here moves slowly, that the song can travel farther than any one body ever could. The third whale introduces a new phrase, a deep pulsing note followed by 3 short rises. The second whale mimics the pattern, slightly altering the timing. Back and forth they go, each one adding a subtle twist. This is how the song evolves, how it spreads. When the whales separate, they will take these new patterns with them, and soon other whales will be singing the same variations, carrying them farther and farther across the world. The duet continues for what feels like hours, the notes vibrating through the water like a shared heartbeat, and then, without warning, the second whale drifts away. Its voice fades into the distance until only the third whale remains. The ocean feels larger again, emptier, but the song does not stop. It has become a part of the sea itself now, echoing in every direction. We close our eyes and imagine the generations of whales who have sung similar melodies before. Songs that once filled seas now vanished. Songs that may still be travelling somewhere beyond our hearing. The ocean is a library of voices, and each whale is a storyteller adding to the collection. The third whale releases one final lingering note. It seems to hang in the water long after the whale has moved on, a reminder that the song will continue, with or without our listening. The water grows warmer as we drift upward, leaving the immense weight of the deeper ocean behind. The whale's song softens now, its notes shorter, more delicate, as though they were never meant to carry quite as far. We realise we're entering a different part of the whale's world, a place where voices take on new meanings, where the songs become more intimate. Do you remember the first time you heard a lullaby? The softness of it, the way it felt like it was meant for you alone? That is what these new sounds feel like. They are no longer the sweeping, far-reaching notes that travel across hemispheres. These are tender calls, shared only between mother and calf. We catch the first of them just below the surface, a low murmur followed by a quick series of gentle pulses. Somewhere nearby, a mother whale is guiding her young through the shallows, calling it close whenever it drifts too far. The calf answers with a higher, thinner sound, a voice still learning its place in the ocean's choir. The notes are quiet, almost secretive. In these waters, silence can mean safety. There are predators nearby, orcas, sharks, even the unseen threats of human noise from distant ships. The mother knows this, so her voice is softer than the deep songs of the open sea. She sings not to the ocean, but to her calf. We watch from a distance as the pair swims together. The calf is small in comparison to its mother, still unsteady in the way it moves. Each flick of its tail is quick and unsure, but the mother's presence keeps it calm. She glides with slow, practiced grace, her body curved gently around her young. Every so often she releases another soft call, and the calf turns instantly toward her, following the sound. Can you feel how the water seems to change in these moments? The currents are still, holding the sound close rather than letting it drift away. Each note is a thread binding mother and calf together. The calf may not yet understand the vast world it has been born into, but it knows this voice, this rhythm. It is the first song it ever heard. We listen as the mother's calls form a pattern, a hum, a pause, then a deeper rumble that vibrates through the water. The calf mimics the rhythm clumsily, its smaller body struggling to match the resonance. This is how it learns, by listening, by imitating, by slowly adding its own variations until one day its voice will carry like the giants we have followed before. There is a quiet strength in the mother's song. She is teaching her calf not only how to move through the ocean, but how to be part of the greater melody. One day, when the calf leaves her side to migrate on its own, the echoes of this lullaby will remain. They will guide it through the same invisible roads, the same ancient corridors that its ancestors have always known. We drift closer, though not close enough to disturb them. The calf dives suddenly, disappearing into the deeper blue, and for a moment the mother falls silent. Then, her voice rises sharply, a note of concern. The calf responds immediately, returning to her side. She brushes her body against its small frame, a gesture as clear as words. "I am here. Stay near." The bond between them is as strong as the sea. It is not just survival. It is something more, something we might call love if whales had a name for it. Each soft hum and rumble is a reassurance, a promise that the calf is never truly alone. We watch until the pair drifts farther away, their bodies shrinking into silhouettes against the silver light above. The sounds of their voices fade, but we know they will continue, note after note, as they move through the shallows together. The ocean grows still again, yet the memory of those tender calls lingers in the water. We can almost feel the threads of them woven into the greater songs we've heard before. These soft, private voices will one day rise into the larger chorus, carrying with them everything the calf has learned here, everything the mother has passed on. And somewhere beyond our sight, other mothers and calves are singing too, their quiet notes layered with the ones we have just heard. The ocean is full of these small, precious conversations. We may not hear them all, but they shape the future of the songs that will travel across the world. The water feels lighter now, almost shimmering with unseen life, and we notice how many voices surround us. Not all belong to whales. The ocean is full of listeners, each tuned to a different frequency, each responding in ways we might never notice. The mother and calf have drifted beyond hearing, leaving behind only the faintest traces of their lullaby. In their place comes the chatter of dolphins above, quick bursts of sound ricocheting off the water. Their clicks and whistles are sharp, designed to bounce from one object to another in rapid succession. Unlike whales, dolphins rarely sing in long phrases. Their voices are a constant cascade of questions and answers, a language of speed and precision. Do you ever think about how many ears are pressed to the ocean at any given moment? A single whale's song can travel hundreds of miles, and it does not disappear into the void. It is heard by others, not only by whales, but by fish, by seals, by creatures we rarely even imagine. Many may not understand the meaning of the notes, yet they feel their presence all the same. We drift deeper, and the soundscape changes again. Faint vibrations hum through the seafloor. Perhaps the distant calls of fin whales, perhaps the tremors of underwater volcanic ridges shifting. These low tones ripple outward, touching coral reefs and sandy plains, alerting all who are able to sense them. Even predators listen. Somewhere far off, a pod of orcas may pause in their hunt when they hear the distant song of a great whale. They may decide to follow it, drawn by instinct. Others, like sharks, detect the subtlest pressure changes in the water, changes that could be caused by the massive movement of a whale's body. But not all who listen are threats. There are fish that gather quietly when whales sing, clustering together as if seeking protection in the shadow of giants. There are tiny shrimp that seem to freeze in place at the sound, their antennae trembling as though they are aware of something larger than themselves passing by. It is strange to realize how interconnected it all is. The whale does not sing only for itself or for other whales. Its song ripples through entire ecosystems, touching lives it will never know. This is how the ocean works. Every vibration carries forward, every presence felt by another. Above us, the dolphins' chatter grows louder, closer. They are curious creatures, and it is possible they have come to investigate the remnants of the whale's melody, still floating in the water. Their voices overlap like a chorus of bells, bright and complex. For a moment, we imagine them responding, their whistles weaving into the pattern of the whale's deeper calls. Do you wonder if the whales and dolphins understand one another? Their languages are so different, and yet they share the same world, the same roads of sound. Perhaps they do not need to translate every note. Perhaps it is enough to feel the rhythm, to sense the presence of another, living being moving through the same vast sea. The water grows quiet again, and we realize how much we rely on these sounds to anchor us in the dark. Without them, the ocean would feel endless, unmarked, a place without edges. But the whale's songs, the dolphins' chatter, even the faint hums of fish and distant predators, all of them create a map we cannot see. They shape the space around us, letting us know where we are. We imagine what it must be like for the whales, who live their entire lives within this soundscape. Every call they make, every echo they hear, is another thread connecting them to the ocean's larger fabric. Even when they are alone, the voices of others are never far away. A faint pulse reaches us now, so low it almost escapes our notice. It is a whale's song again, but this one is unfamiliar. Its rhythm is irregular, its notes more abrupt than the ones we have followed before. Perhaps it belongs to a young whale experimenting with its voice. Or perhaps it is a warning, sent out across the water to alert others of something approaching. Whatever it is, the ocean carries it forward. Other creatures will hear it, and they will respond in ways we may never understand. This is the ocean's quiet magic. No sound is ever truly alone. We close our eyes and listen until the pulse fades into the distance, carried farther and farther from us, a message entrusted to the sea. The ocean shifts around us as we drift through colder, heavier waters. The quiet between songs feels different now, not peaceful, but fragile. Above, distant storms churn the surface, sending turbulence downward, and from even farther away, another kind of noise reaches us. The hum of ships, low and relentless, cutting through the whale songs like static across a melody. Have you noticed how silence in the ocean is never truly silent anymore? Human sounds travel just as far as whale songs, sometimes farther, because they use the same highways of water. Cargo ships, oil rigs, naval sonar, all of them send vibrations into the sea. They layer over the ancient voices we've been following, disrupting the harmony that once defined this place. We hear it now, a long mechanical thrum that fills the water until it is hard to distinguish the faint songs beneath it. The first whale's voice might still be travelling through the SOFAR channel, but it is buried under this constant noise. How many calls go unheard this way? How many whales sing and never receive an answer because the ocean is too crowded with sound? The storm above does not help. Waves crash with a force that shakes the water for miles. Lightning splits the sky, and thunder follows with a deep rolling pulse that echoes far below the surface. These are natural noises, but they too can interrupt the delicate balance of the ocean's soundscape. For whales that rely on their voices to navigate and to find one another, even a brief disruption can mean separation, confusion, or danger. A sudden, sharp burst cuts through the water. Sonar. It is louder than anything we have heard yet, a single piercing note that makes the sea feel as though it is vibrating apart. We feel the shock in our bones. Whales do too. Some may flee in panic when sonar strikes, diving too deep, too quickly, risking injury in their rush to escape. Others may freeze in silence, hoping to avoid detection, even though it leaves them isolated. Can you imagine what it must feel like to live in a world where your voice is drowned out? For whales, whose entire existence is built on sound, the ocean is becoming more dangerous, more disorienting. The songs we have followed for so long could be lost amid the clamour. We drift for a while, letting the ship noise fade as it moves farther away. Slowly, the ocean begins to settle again. The storm calms, its waves softening into gentle swells, and then, almost like a sigh of relief, a whale's song emerges from the dark. It is not as strong as the voices we've heard before. The notes are hesitant, shorter, as though the whale is testing the water before committing fully to its song. We feel the pauses between each phrase, moments of listening, of making sure the sound will not be interrupted again. The whale continues, a little louder now, and the melody stretches farther into the deep. Other voices might be waiting to hear it, but for now, none answer. Perhaps they are too far away, or perhaps they have been silenced by the noise. Still, the whale sings, its voice a steady thread holding fast in the shifting water. There is resilience in the sound, a refusal to give up. Whales have been singing for millions of years, through ice ages and shifting continents. They have survived every upheaval the planet has known. This moment too will pass, and the songs will remain. We close our eyes and imagine the future these voices might shape. Will the ocean grow quieter again one day, returning to the harmony it once held? Or will the whales adapt, finding new ways to sing above the clamour? The melody continues, unbroken, even as storms and ships and sonar threaten to drown it out. The whale keeps singing. We realise it has always been this way, a voice rising against the odds, trusting that someone, somewhere, will hear. The whale's voice carries on, deep and steady, like a pulse threading its way through the heart of the sea. We listen carefully now, noticing how every note seems to hold a memory. The ocean itself feels like a record of these voices, an archive of all the sounds that have ever moved through it. Have you ever walked through a familiar place and felt the echoes of everything that happened there? That is what the whale's song feels like. Each note seems to remember the routes it has travelled before, the places where other whales once sang the same melody. The ocean stores these memories in layers, warm waters that have heard young calves practicing their first calls, deep channels that have carried songs across hemispheres, frozen polar seas where notes linger longer than anywhere else. Even when a song fades from our hearing, it leaves behind a trace. Vibrations ripple outward, softening with time, yet never fully disappearing. We drift through one of these traces now. It is faint, like the residue of a voice that passed by hours or even days ago. You can almost hear the shape of the song, though it is too distant to recognize. It reminds us that whales do not experience the ocean as we do, in isolated moments. Their world is continuous. The songs they sing and the echoes they follow stretch through time as much as through space. This is how whales know where they are. Each generation inherits the memory of sound, the way certain notes return faster in shallow bays, the way echoes stretch longer in wide open seas. They use these cues to navigate migrations that span thousands of miles, revisiting the same feeding grounds and breeding grounds year after year. Imagine a calf travelling with its mother, listening as she sings through the deep. It learns not only the melody of her voice, but the rhythm of the ocean itself, where the sound sharpens, where it softens, where it vanishes completely. This memory will guide it long after it leaves her side. We descend deeper now, into waters untouched by sunlight. Here, the whale's voice grows even more resonant. It bounces from unseen cliffs, from ridges that have been sculpted by tides for millennia. The whale knows this terrain, though it has never seen it. Each echo that returns is a landmark. Each pause in the song is a moment of listening, of placing itself in the map it carries within. Do you wonder if whales ever feel nostalgia? If the echoes remind them of other journeys, other voices they once heard along the way? It is hard to say, but there is something in the song that feels tender, almost reflective. We think about how fragile these memories can be. The ocean is changing quickly now, currents shifting, ice melting, temperatures rising. The places where echoes once returned may not sound the same anymore. A familiar route could become confusing, its landmarks erased. The whale continues to sing, undeterred. Perhaps it has already adapted, adjusting the length of its notes, the depth of its dives, the timing of its pauses. Whales have survived countless changes before, but the thought lingers: how much can be lost before the songs themselves begin to fray? A new voice answers faintly in the distance, so soft it could be mistaken for an echo. But no, it is another whale, adding its melody to the water. We feel the first whale slow its rhythm, making space for the second voice. Together they create something larger than either could alone, a web of sound that stretches far beyond where we are. This is how the memory continues. Each voice carries pieces of the ones that came before. Each note connects the past to the present, ensuring the ocean's map remains unbroken. The whales' duet grows stronger as we drift alongside them, and for a moment the ocean feels full again, alive with purpose and direction. Even if the world changes, the songs will find a way forward. They always have. The duet lingers in the water, steady and calm, and we begin to wonder how many voices have sung like this before. The ocean has held whales for tens of millions of years, long before humans, long before the continents settled into their current shapes. Each note we hear feels like a bridge across time, a whisper from ancestors we will never know. Can you picture them? Ancient whales swimming through seas that look nothing like the ones we know now. The coastlines were different, the currents unfamiliar, yet the songs may have been surprisingly similar. Long, rolling notes carrying across the water, linking lives in ways too vast for us to measure. The ocean was quieter then. There were no engines, no sonar pulses, no constant hum of human activity. Every sound would have carried clearly, unbroken. Whales could call from one end of an ocean basin and be heard at the other, their voices as much a part of the sea as the tides themselves. We try to imagine what those first songs might have sounded like. Were they slower, deeper, because the oceans were colder and emptier? Or were they brighter, shaped by ecosystems that no longer exist? Perhaps the melodies have changed countless times, evolving with the planet's rhythms, carrying the fingerprints of every generation that came before. The two whales we are following continue their duet. Their notes overlap and separate, layering into harmonies we feel as much as hear, and we realize the songs are more than communication. They are lineage. Each whale adds to a thread that stretches back through time, passing along knowledge embedded in sound. This is how culture survives in the ocean. A calf born today learns not only its mother's song, but the fragments of her mother's song and her mother's before her. It carries these echoes forward, adding its own voice until one day it becomes the teacher. Do you think whales ever sense this connection to the past? When a melody rises unbidden, familiar though it has never been heard before, do they know it is a gift from ancestors long gone? Or do they simply sing because it is part of what they are, as instinctive as breath? We descend into deeper water, and the voices become richer, resonating in the hollows of underwater valleys. These places hold history. Sediments here are layered with the remains of creatures that lived and died millions of years ago. Some were whales themselves, ancestors who once swam through currents very much like these, leaving their voices behind in ways we cannot detect. There is a humbling permanence to this thought. Whales have outlasted ice ages, extinction events, and the reshaping of entire continents. They have endured because their songs are not bound to a single time or place. They move, they adapt, they carry memory forward. The duet softens now, one whale lowering its voice until it is almost a whisper. Perhaps it is pausing to listen for an answer from even farther away. Perhaps it is simply resting, content to let its companion's voice carry the melody for a while. Far in the distance we hear something new, a faint chorus of other whales. Their notes are too far away to distinguish clearly, but they are there, weaving through the water like threads connecting the entire ocean. We are listening not to two whales now, but to a tapestry of voices, each one a continuation of a story millions of years in the making. The ocean feels full again, heavy with presence. We close our eyes and let the chorus rise around us, a reminder that we are part of a world much older and larger than we can ever comprehend. The songs have never stopped. Even when we cannot hear them, they continue, carrying the past forward into the dark. The chorus fades slowly as we drift into warmer water. One voice begins to stand out, rich and textured, carrying with it a complexity we have not yet heard. It belongs to a humpback whale, a species known for songs as intricate as any symphony. The humpback's melody is layered, with notes stacked one upon another like waves breaking on a distant shore. Some are low and resonant, vibrating through the water with a power that seems to touch the seafloor. Others are high and plaintive, threading upward like distant birdsong. Each phrase is carefully placed, repeating and then evolving, building a structure as deliberate as any cathedral. Can you imagine a song that lasts for hours? Humpbacks will sing without stopping, cycling through the same patterns again and again, yet altering them slightly each time. No performance is exactly the same. The song may grow longer, or a phrase may be dropped, or a new note might suddenly appear, a small spark of invention that will ripple outward as other whales adopt it. We watch the humpback rise toward the surface, its massive body outlined faintly in the dim blue light. It exhales with a rush of air that echoes like a sigh across the water, then dives again, arching its back gracefully before disappearing into the deep. The song continues uninterrupted. There is something mesmerizing about the rhythm. It is steady but unpredictable, a blend of order and improvisation. We feel our breath slowing to match the cadence, as though the whale's voice has reached into our own bodies and reshaped the pace of our hearts. Humpback songs are among the most studied of all whale voices, yet their true meaning remains elusive. Are they declarations of territory, invitations to mate, or are they simply an expression of presence, a way of filling the ocean with beauty? Other humpbacks are listening. We hear their responses now, faint and echoing, picking up fragments of the leading whale's song and weaving them into their own. This is how the music spreads. A single new phrase introduced here may travel across oceans as other whales adopt it, each one making it slightly different, until the song that began in one place is unrecognizable halfway across the world. Do you think the humpbacks know their songs are shared like this? That a note they sing today could be heard by whales thousands of miles away months from now? Perhaps they do, and that knowledge is part of the reason they sing so persistently. Or perhaps the songs are simply an instinct, a pulse older than memory. The humpback's voice grows louder as it rises from the depths again. For a moment we catch sight of its enormous tail sweeping upward, sending a slow current through the water. It dives deeper this time, its entire body vanishing into the shadows, yet the song remains, ringing through the dark like a promise. We drift closer, letting the melody surround us. Each note feels deliberate, as if the whale is aware of our presence, as if it is telling us a story we will never fully understand, and in a way, it is. This song is a record of the whale's life, its migrations, its encounters with other whales, the fragments of melodies it has gathered along the way. The water seems to hold its breath as the song reaches a long, aching crescendo. Then, after a pause, the humpback begins again from the start. There is no ending, no final note. The music circles endlessly, a reflection of the ocean's own cycles of tide and current and moonlight. Other humpbacks join in now, their voices blending into a chorus that makes the water vibrate with power. The sound is so full it is almost visible, like waves of light moving through the dark. We float there for a long time, listening, until the chorus begins to fade, its voices spreading outward in all directions. And still, the song continues, echoing into the distance like a living thread connecting whales across the planet. The chorus of humpbacks drifts away, leaving the water quiet except for a single solitary voice. It is faint, almost ghost-like, and at first we wonder if it is simply an echo of one of the others. But no, the pitch is different, a frequency unlike any we have heard before. This is the loneliest song in the ocean. It belongs to the mysterious 52 Hz whale, a creature whose voice is pitched higher than any other known whale species. While most whales call at frequencies below 30 Hz, so deep we often feel their songs more than we hear them. This whale sings at 52 Hz, just above the edge of the ocean's common chorus. Can you imagine calling out again and again, never certain if anyone can hear you? That is the life of the 52 Hz whale. Its voice is unique, perhaps the result of a genetic anomaly or an adaptation we do not yet understand. Whatever the reason, it seems to swim alone, its song unanswered. We drift closer, straining to hear its call. It is oddly melodic, rising and falling with a rhythm unlike the deep rolling notes of the humpbacks or blue whales. There is a plaintive quality to the sound, as if the whale is searching for something it cannot find. Do you think it knows it is alone? Or does it continue to sing out of instinct, trusting that one day another voice will answer? We cannot know, but the thought lingers, heavy as the water pressing around us. The 52 Hz whale's song cuts through the ocean in waves, rising higher than the background hum of distant ships and storms. Yet no response comes. It is hard not to imagine a loneliness in that silence. The whale calls again and again, following migration paths no other whale seems to travel. Some scientists believe that its unique frequency may actually help it avoid predators, that its isolation could be a survival strategy. But we wonder if even survival feels hollow without the connection of another voice. The whale's song continues, unwavering. Each note travels through the SOFAR channel, perhaps for hundreds of miles, carrying its lonely melody to ears that may never be there. And yet, in its persistence, there is a quiet strength. Have you ever found comfort in speaking even when no one was listening? Sometimes the act of singing itself is enough, a declaration that you exist, that you are here. That may be true for this whale as well. Its voice fills the water with presence, even if no other whale ever joins it. We close our eyes and let the sound wash through us. There is something hauntingly beautiful about it, this solitary call echoing through the ocean's vast emptiness. It is a reminder that even in isolation life continues. The whale moves forward, guided by currents and instinct, carrying its song like a lantern in the dark. The call fades and then returns, steady and unwavering. It'll continue like this for days, weeks, months. A single voice moving through a world too large to ever fully cross. We drift for a while, imagining the journeys this whale must take, the countless miles of empty water it must cross. And yet, in its own way, it is connected. Its song has reached us. We are listening. The whale sings again, and we let the note fill the space around us until it fades into the unseen distance, a sound both fragile and eternal. The solitary note of the 52 Hz whale fades into the deep, replaced by a softer rhythm carried on the tides. The ocean feels calmer now, the water shifting gently in time with the pull of the moon above. We realize we're hearing another layer to this great underwater symphony, one not born from the whales themselves, but from the moon's steady influence. Do you feel it? The tides are moving, lifting and lowering entire oceans with each silent command from the moon. For whales, these rhythms are as familiar as their own songs. Tides shape the availability of prey, the currents they follow, the safe harbours they seek for rest and birth. And they shape the songs as well, giving the whales a subtle rhythm to swim by, a pulse that guides them through the vastness. We notice now how the whale's song aligns with these movements. Each note seems to fall in step with the tide's rise and fall, as though the moon itself were conducting the music. Perhaps this is not intentional, or perhaps whales have always understood that their voices carry farther when they move with the rhythm of the planet. The tide brings us into shallower water, where the ocean floor begins to glow faintly in the filtered moonlight. We hear the low calls of migrating whales passing through a narrow channel. Their songs are longer now, slower, stretched to match the pace of the water flowing with them. There is no rush. The tide will deliver them where they need to be. Imagine travelling thousands of miles guided by nothing but sound and the pull of the moon. Whales do it year after year, tracing the same invisible routes their ancestors once followed. Some paths take them from feeding grounds in polar seas to breeding grounds in tropical lagoons, journeys that span entire hemispheres. And during these migrations they keep singing. The songs may change, softer in shallow bays, stronger in the open sea, but they never truly stop. Each voice becomes part of the tide, a current of sound moving with the water. Do you think whales sense the moon as we do? When it rises full and luminous above the horizon, does it mean something to them beyond light? Perhaps they feel its gravity the way they feel the currents, a gentle pull reminding them where they belong. We look up now, and though we cannot see the surface, we know the moon is there, casting its glow across the water. The whales' voices rise with it, layered and steady. They call not just to each other, but to the world itself, to the forces that have shaped their lives for millions of years. A single humpback breaks the surface far above, exhaling in a spray of mist before slipping back into the water. The sound is soft but carries far, a reminder that the air and sea are never entirely separate. Then the song begins again, deep and resonant, merging with the chorus that moves through the tides. We feel the rhythm in our own bodies now. Our breath slows to match the pulse of the water, the quiet sway of the moon's pull. The whales have always known this rhythm, always moved with it. It is part of their culture, their migration, their music. The tide begins to shift, turning outward, and the whales follow. Their songs grow stronger as they move into deeper water again, as though the open sea itself were calling them forward. And we drift with them, carried by the same unseen force that binds all things in the ocean together. The tide carries us outward once more, back into the open ocean where the water deepens and darkens. Here, the whale's songs swell into a vast and seamless choir. It is no longer one voice or even two, but dozens layered together, rising and falling like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Can you hear how each whale holds its own melody, yet somehow they all fit? One begins with a low, sustained note that vibrates like distant thunder. Another follows with a sharp upward phrase like a question waiting for an answer. Still others thread harmonies between them, short pulses and trills weaving a net of sound so intricate it seems impossible for it to be accidental. And yet, it is not orchestrated in the way human choirs are. There is no conductor, no rehearsal. The whales simply sing, and the ocean arranges their voices, layering and carrying them across its depths until the entire world seems to be vibrating with life. We realize now how borderless this music is. The whales may be separated by hundreds of miles, even by entire ocean basins, but their voices know no divisions. One song can travel from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean, picking up new phrases along the way. A whale in distant waters will recognize those patterns instantly, as though it has always known them. This is a kind of connection we can hardly imagine. Each whale is part of a global choir, adding its voice to a tradition that stretches beyond geography or language. They do not need to see one another, or even to know who they are singing with. The ocean itself ties them together, carrying their songs farther than any one body could ever swim. We drift deeper into the chorus, and the sound grows so full it feels like the water is trembling. Each vibration passes through us, a reminder that we, too, are part of this web, however briefly. The whales sing across oceans, and we're here to witness it. Do you think they ever sense how many others are singing at the same time? Or do they simply trust the connection, the way a migrating bird trusts the wind? Perhaps the whales understand something we've long forgotten, that we're never truly separate from one another. The choir grows louder still, a tide of voices moving together as the whales follow ancient migration routes. Their songs are a map, a bond, a form of culture. In each note we can hear fragments of history, knowledge passed down across generations. We can also hear the future, calves learning these melodies for the first time, ready to carry them forward when they are grown. The water shimmers faintly with life. Shoals of fish dart beneath us, responding to the vibrations with subtle shifts in direction. Even creatures that do not sing are affected by the chorus. It shapes the way they move, the way they find shelter, the way they survive. We close our eyes and listen, letting the choir wrap around us completely. The ocean feels small and infinite all at once, a single connected space filled with voices we will never fully understand. And yet, we do not need to understand. It is enough to feel the weight of the connection, the knowledge that these songs are holding the world together in ways we cannot see. Slowly, the choir begins to drift apart. Some whales are moving farther out to sea, others diving deep into unseen trenches. But even as the voices spread out, they remain connected by the threads of sound the ocean will always carry. We open our eyes to the darkness and realize that the music has not ended. It never will. Somewhere, a new whale is beginning its song, and another will soon answer, and the choir will continue. The whale's songs fade softly into the distance, scattering like stars across the ocean. We can still feel the vibration of their voices, but it grows fainter as we drift into colder water. Here, the sea feels heavier, the current slower, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Do you sense the change? The ocean is shifting. It is not the same sea it was for the generations of whales who came before. The water is warming in places where it should be cool. Ice melts at the poles, altering the very currents that whales have followed for millennia. And above it all, the noise of human activity continues to swell, threading through the ocean's highways of sound. We think of the calf we heard with its mother not long ago, One day it will swim alone, guided by the songs it has learned. But will those songs still lead it safely? What happens when the ocean it was taught to navigate is no longer the same? The thought lingers as we listen to the faint echoes of the choir. Whales rely on memory and sound, yet both are vulnerable now. When familiar feeding grounds disappear, when the underwater landscapes shift, the notes they once trusted might lead them astray. And yet the whales adapt. They always have. We hear it in the way their songs evolve, adding new phrases, changing rhythms, adjusting to whatever the ocean becomes. Some whales now sing louder than before, pushing their voices above the din of ships and sonar. Others alter their frequencies, finding bands of sound less crowded by noise. Do you wonder how these changes will shape the future of whale culture? Songs that once travelled unbroken for hundreds of miles may fragment. New melodies may rise in their place, different but still carrying the essence of what has always been: connection. We drift through a current warmer than expected, and for a moment we feel how fragile this balance is. The whale's songs are a thread holding vast ecosystems together. If they fray, the ocean will not be the same. But the songs do not stop. Even in the face of disruption, the whales continue to sing. Their voices rise out of the deep, steady and sure, as though defying the changes around them. Perhaps that is what has kept them alive through so many upheavals, the willingness to sing even when the future is uncertain. We imagine what the ocean will sound like decades from now. Will it be louder, more chaotic, harder for whales to hear one another? Or will the world find a way to quiet itself again, to let the songs carry as they once did? The thought is heavy, but the whales remind us that change is not always an ending. Their songs hold resilience as much as beauty. We can hear it in the way the notes stretch and bend, reshaping themselves for a world still in motion. A single whale's voice swells close by, a low and steady call that seems to fill every corner of the sea. Another answers faintly in the distance, then another and another, until the ocean is full once more. We close our eyes and breathe slowly. Whatever happens, the whales will keep singing. Their voices will carry forward, weaving through the dark, connecting oceans, generations. The whales' voices rise and fall around us, steady as the tides, yet there is something different now. The songs feel slower, more deliberate, as if each note were being carved carefully into the water. Perhaps they know the ocean is changing, or perhaps they have always sung this way at the end of a long journey, holding the notes just a little longer, as if reluctant to let them go. We drift deeper, following one whale's voice into the dark. It is low and resonant, a single note that seems to stretch beyond time itself. The sound fills the water until it feels like there is no beginning and no end, only this one, unbroken vibration. Can you feel how it wraps around us? It is not simply a call, not a question or an answer. It is presence, pure and steady. The whale is here, and it is letting the world know it. We think about all the voices we have heard on this journey, the mothers calling softly to their calves, the humpbacks weaving complex harmonies, the solitary 52 Hz whale, singing alone, the vast choirs echoing across entire hemispheres. Each voice is part of a larger melody, one that has been building for millions of years. The whale continues its song, and we realize it is carrying all of those other voices with it. Every note contains fragments of the past, echoes from ancestors, memories of places that no longer exist, knowledge passed from generation to generation. It is a thread stretching backward through time, binding the living to those who came before. Do you think whales know their songs will outlast them? that even when a single voice fades, the melody will continue in others? Perhaps they do, and perhaps that is why they never stop singing. The note deepens, trembling through the water until it feels as though the entire ocean is breathing with us. Somewhere in the distance, another whale answers, its voice rising to meet the first. Then another joins, and another, until the sea is full once more, each voice layering into a single boundless choir. The sound is so vast it seems to dissolve the edges of the world. We are no longer aware of the distance between ourselves and the whales, or between one ocean and another. There is only the music, endless and whole, reaching farther than we can follow. We close our eyes and allow the voices to carry us. The song moves on, travelling into waters we will never see, but we know it will continue. It always does. The whales will keep singing, as they always have, sending their voices out into the dark with the quiet faith that someone, somewhere, is listening. And as the last note fades into the deep, we realise it never truly ends. Now the ocean is still again, the current slow to a gentle sway, and the world softens around you like a breath released. You can still feel the echo of the whale's songs, faint as a memory, vibrating quietly through the water. It lingers in your chest, steady and soothing, as though the ocean itself is humming you to rest. The darkness around you is warm and safe, a vast blanket that holds you the way the sea holds every living thing within it. You imagine the whales still singing far away, their voices threading through the deep, connecting one world to another. Each note is soft, steady, endless, drifting farther than you can follow. But you do not need to follow anymore. You're already part of the rhythm now, your breath rising and falling like the tides. The whale's songs have become your own heartbeat, slow and even. You feel lighter, as though the weight of the day is sinking away, leaving only the quiet and the pulse of the water. The ocean is vast, but it is never empty. Somewhere, a whale is beginning its song. Another will answer, and another, until the sea is full once more. You do not need to hear them. It is enough to know they are there, singing to one another across the dark, holding the world together with their voices. Your body softens, your mind drifts. The last echoes fade into silence, and you let them carry you into sleep,